Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are planning to introduce a new initiative, a series on anthropology optional. So as part of that, we are uploading a recorded anthropology orientation session that we had last week for your benefit. And here we'll throw some light on certain aspects of anthropology. For instance, what is anthropology as a subject? What are the different parts of the syllabus? What could be the benefits of taking anthropology as an option? And many other such aspects. So without further delay, let's get started. So let's talk about each of these things a little bit. Socio-cultural anthro. When I say culture and society, sometimes we use the same term for both. And in fact, it is not just us, right? Even in books and newspapers, you'll probably see that, you can either use culture or you can use society, but it's not the same. If I ask one of you, let's say Rahul or Fani Kiran or Sharat, tell me about your culture. What will you tell me? If anybody wants to volunteer, that is great as well. I don't want to sort of, put anybody on the spot. Can anybody describe their culture? The way how we live. Okay, Mr. X. Who's Mr. X? Very diverse. No, but explain to me, what is your culture? Let's say that I don't know what is your culture like at all. So I'm like, hey, you seem such a fascinating person. Can you tell me about your culture? Can you explain? What would you say? You can speak up, that's okay. Ekta basically says it's our customs, our morals, our laws. Okay, okay. All of these things make up our culture. So, Ekta, what is society then? Mr. X again about culture says what we eat, clothing, okay, beliefs, okay, good. So beliefs, okay, maybe some religious thoughts, religious beliefs, clothing, okay, what we eat, food, okay, all of that. What is society then? Will your answer change if I ask you what is your society like, or what is society? Social people, group of people with different cultures, group of people. Soundarya, Nagaraj, okay, wonderful. See, uh, in school we must have studied, right? A flock of birds, a pride of lions, right? You must have heard of this. A group of people is society. And again, this is a gross oversimplification, right? When we get into the subject, we'll go in a little more detail, what kind of group it must be. Okay, and the culture is learned behavior. Again, another gross oversimplification. Group of people living together, okay. Group of people accepting a particular culture, okay. Maybe as a group, okay, great. Okay, so you have a good perspective on this. So society is a group of people and their sort of learned behavior, their practices, right? The morals and laws and those things that you guys mentioned, these are aspects that will come in their culture. When we are born, we don't have culture. We have culture because we are born in a particular family, in a particular society. If I take you, or you got misplaced as a child, okay, instead of being born in Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh, somehow you were born and raised in, let's say, Jammu Kashmir, or let's say in Nagaland, or let's say in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, right? Your culture will vary. When we say idli dosa is my breakfast culture, right? South Indians, Madrasis, right? We feel that, right? But even that is not something that we are born with, right? Idli and dosa and sambar, all of these things are because we are born into a family. They're born into that particular society, right? And these are the learned behavior that we have picked up. This is not part of our genetics, right? Your skin tone, that is genetics. That is not culture, okay? Your height, genetics. The way your hair is, okay? And many different aspects, your eye color, right? So many other aspects, okay? That is not culture. Culture is learned behavior. Intelligence, that's an interesting thought. Complicated. Okay, Sai, that is complicated. There's no simple answer to it. In fact, we will be discussing that in the course as well. Is, basically, Sai introduces a good point. Is intelligence inherited through genes, or is it a product of your environment? Does it matter that, you're born into a family of doctors, okay, or, scientists, or people with just a high IQ, right? Does that mean the chances of you doing better in life, especially when it comes to intelligence sort of pursuits, will that be better off, or is it completely inherited through your genes? Good question. Okay, we will see. Okay, we will see. There are a lot of research in this area as well, but right now we sort of have an answer to it. Okay, we'll discuss that later. In socio-cultural anthro, we generally discuss a few aspects here: marriage, family, kinship, economic institutions, political institutions, religious organizations, right? When I say religious organization, religious institutions, right? Whatever sort of belief you have. Do we all believe the same? Do we all believe in the same gods? The most important god or goddess to a lot of you would be Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari, no, Basavi, right? I think the short name, Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari, right? In fact, we have a Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari temple near our home as well. Okay, but there are many other temples. If I say Vithundi temple, you probably will not know, because I will know some, you will know some, right? Religious organizations also, there are many. We'll take a look at Vasavi Kanyaka Parameshwari. Okay, the first name I forgot. No, I just didn't put it together. Okay, good. See, every society, all of these institutions, why do we study these institutions? Marriage is an institution, family is an institution, kinship. Kinship means relations. Okay. Is it too noisy when the dogs are barking? And is my mic picking that up? No problem, right? Ah, good. Thanks. Okay. See, I'll start with this. All of these institutions are sort of universal. Every society around the world, you remember that Earth that we had drawn with like many different continents and islands? Every single society has some form of marriage there. There is some form of marriage. Every society has some form of family. It is very difficult for you to come across a place where humans exist. In that particular society, they have a culture which lacks this institution called family. Everybody has family, meaning it is there in every society. But does that mean the family setup is the same everywhere? Kinship relations, kinship relation, right? Mama, Atta, what is it? Chennamma, Nana, you have a whole lot of these different terms you may use, right? All of your uncles, okay, Mama, what is your father's younger brother called? Pedanana and the younger one, right? Right? All of that in English, if you speak, right? Babai, babai, right? Babai, right? In English, generally, they just call everybody uncle. They don't necessarily differentiate, right? For us, in your culture, please tell me if anybody does not differentiate. I'm assuming that all of you will have at least, you'll have a mama separate from babai and peddanana. Okay, or how do you say that in Karnataka? Chinnanana. Okay, kaka. Okay, whole lot of these things. So kinship, the relations are there everywhere. Okay, what we may call them and the importance we have set for them, and certain sort of the roles therein, those things may vary, but kinship relations are important everywhere. Economic institutions are there in every single society. At the end of the day, we want to ensure every human society has its own way of having the roti, kapda, makan, and the basic necessities of human life met. Okay, so economic institution does not have to be your stock market. It does not have to be big banks. It has to be some sort of way in which you put roti, kapda, makan. Okay, a roof above your head, food. Okay, some basic clothing. Now, this could be even more basic necessity for certain groups of people. Just today, a little bit of food should do. There are people like that as well. I'm not talking about poor people. I'm just talking different cultures. Okay. Oh, Doddappa, Doddappa, and Chikkappa. Okay, great. Okay, that is Kannada. Great, excellent. I remember this thing. I was in university and I was doing my internship. I was somewhere in, based somewhere, New Jersey, New York, somewhere there, right? At that point, I decided, and this was a summer, so I had an internship. I decided that I'll take a summer class, and my summer class was called Intro to Marriage. Okay, it was a course called Intro to Marriage. So, again, my colleagues and all were like making fun of me. Like, okay, so you will be a good husband. You want to be a good husband. That's why you're learning, how to be a good husband. It'll make you better. You're going to study and go into marriage. No, that's not the whole point. Okay. In fact, I didn't even know what it is. It just sounded fancy. A whole summer reading about, what is marriage or something like that. Fun course that I had taken. In the very first class, I think it was the very first class, or before you enter the first class, they had given us an assignment where come out with a definition for marriage. Define marriage. Okay. And that seemed very easy, and especially coming, I had a good academic pedigree. I was doing well in course, and especially in some very difficult technical courses, and suddenly then I see describe marriage or define marriage. It seemed way too easy to be called an assignment. So I went and I busted out a good solid definition: a relationship or a bond between a male and a female, that they're going to be together throughout their life. And then I was like, no, cannot be throughout their life, because divorce is also a possibility. So, they in sickness and in health, there are so many aspects to this, right? So I had mentioned that, and I tried to come out with something that is great, right? However, can you find any issue with this definition? No, it's good. Would you accept it? In fact, in that class, we had peer review. So all of us have to look at each other's definition and then talk about, which one came out well, which one doesn't come out well. So when you talk about this, mine did not come out well. In fact, there were a lot of criticism. See, generally when we say, I want to say two things, okay? There are two terms here, and you should understand the difference. What is the difference between wedding and marriage? What is the difference between wedding and marriage? Wedding is basically describing only that one day. Okay. On that particular day, we have a wedding. Okay. What is a wedding? Okay. Tell guides, they generally don't wear a shirt. They'll have like a cloth in between. And then, they'll have that, what is that? Not ginger garlic paste. What is that? That's that paste that they have. And then they'll have it on each other's head. And then later they go out and then they look at that Akash, the star, and they will not be able to see the star during the day, but still they'll point at it, take photos, right? Common, right? And similarly, this is other sort of cultures will have different forms of marriage as well, weddings. Okay, we are not talking about the wedding. Okay, so when I say there are different kinds of marriages, we're not talking about the practices that sort of you have on that one day where you make this public sort of commitment. Arundhati star, right. Okay, I have a very bad memory, so I know all of these things, but just that when I need it, it will not click. Okay, so you guys can help me with this. See, when we say marriage, probably we think of this male and this female probably committing to each other. This looks like what? This looks like a South Indian traditional wedding, right? So maybe I picture it like this. So one of the reasons why they said, and I understand that marriages are different. For instance, okay, let me just make this clear once again. I see the question. It's not about legality, Hannah. It is wedding is this particular day, this particular function. Okay, along with this, you'll have a reception, maybe not. But marriage is what you have from here, the roles and responsibilities, all the way till you are married together. So you understand what is marriage and what is wedding? You understand the difference, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, now that you understand that, I am not talking about the wedding related differences. Okay, we are talking about marriage. Now, see, this could be one kind of marriage, but this could be another kind of marriage, right? Here, possibly, they probably did not meet until probably it's an arranged marriage. The chances are that, it could be a higher chance of it being an arranged marriage. Parents have a bigger role, right? In these kind of weddings, let us say that, in the West, the parents could even be, sort of a catalyst, but it is generally taken, it is these two guys who tend to take that call. But my definition basically had an issue because I did not account for this. This too is marriage, isn't it? Even when I was there in my university, there, Supreme Court had already ruled, I believe, in certain states that, same-sex marriage was legal, right? And I think I knew that as well. But, when you think about marriage, the first thing that comes to your mind is a female, a male. That is what marriage is all about. But you have to factor this in. If you're factoring this in, you should also think about. So I probably changed my definition to, not only a male and a female, but, two people, okay, who are making that sort of commitment. But even then, it was a problem, right? Is it always two people? Can you have a definition for marriage in which you talk about commitment between two people? Will that account for every single marriage that you can see around the world? Why so? Can you provide me an exception? You probably have already seen the slide. So what is the exception? What did I not account for in my definition? Age. No, I did not talk about age. See, age does not necessarily matter, right? Polygamy, polyandry. Oh, ooh, okay. Mostly acceptance in society we live. Okay, okay, okay. See, when I say two, a commitment between two people, as Ekta just pointed out, right? I did not factor this in many. So this is in Indonesia, right? So in Islam, it does allow for a man to be married to 4 women at a time, right? So when I say a sort of a definition that should encompass all kinds of marriages, when I said two people making that commitment, immediately it is off, because this husband has 3 wives, okay, which I knew, but I don't know, it didn't occur to me. Okay, so my definition is still not great. So then I changed it to a male and 1 or more females. Will that be done? Is that a good enough definition? A male and 1 or more females. So Ekta says no. Okay, why so? Because of this. So who? I'm guessing that you have a basic understanding of many of our epics. By looking at this picture, can you tell what exactly is this referencing? So Ekta says no, yes. Manoj says no. Kavya says no. Rachna says Draupadi. Okay. So what is the sort of? This is also a marriage. Right? This is also a marriage in which Draupadi was married to multiple men. Okay, to 5 brothers. Right, starting from Yudhishthira, Arjun, Bhima, and Nakul, Sahadeva. Right. So this is that. In fact, this is not something that you will only see in epics, right? Even amongst, if you go to Uttarakhand, Eastern Nepal, Tibet, these areas, you will still see this. It is still a kind of a marriage in which, in certain societies, this is the go-to kind of a marriage. Brothers are married to 1 female. Similarly, that is not just there. In fact, this is a particular group called the Todas. Anybody knows where the Todas are from? By the way, this blanket was asked, which particular group is related to this blanket was asked, I think like 2-3 years ago in prelims. So this is a group called Aryan community. What is Aryan community? Okay, there's no such thing as Aryan community. Okay, in so far as we are concerned here, except when we are talking about post Indus Valley civilization thing. So we'll talk about it only then. Okay, it's Tamil Nadu. Okay, yes. So see, in Nilgiris, there are certain tribes there. And oh, Parikshit, wonderful. Okay, Rachna, wonderful. Okay, so you have certain tribes. So this is one such group, right? This is one such group, Todas. Amongst the Todas as well, they have this practice in which they practice polyandry, as in there will be a female who will have multiple husbands. Okay, she will have multiple husbands. And I remember this thing because I did, I was in a boarding school in OT as well. And one of my senior, he was a professor in Hyderabad Central University. He told me, he had done his master's thesis about this particular group. So he told me, there will be a lot of fun, interesting things. Right. So for instance, if there is a male in this particular home, he will hang his, walking stick. Okay, his stick. Generally, they are like pastoralists. They have buffaloes. So for that, they'll have a stick. So that stick will be kept there. So they know that, okay, she is busy with another, one of her husbands. Generally, it'll be fraternal polyandry, meaning it'll be multiple brothers. Brothers will be married. Now, again, when you look at socio-cultural anthro, why do we have so many different marriages? Look at this marriage. It's so different. This is a different kind of marriage. This is a different kind of a marriage. See, every society has a particular need. What suits that society will be the form of marriage. They will have marriage, but it need not be the same sort of marriage for all societies. Does that make sense? I'll give you a couple of reasoning as well. Okay, reasoning. Let's look at reasoning. Generally, amongst this crowd, the Khasas, there are certain groups there. Okay. Here, what happens is the reason why they want to ensure that the brothers don't marry multiple females is that
it's 8 o'clock.
So sorry. That's my laptop. Okay. Generally, what you will notice here is that the land here is high up, high altitude regions. Okay, agriculture is not possible. Subsistence living. So when you have this kind of an environment, okay, this kind of an atmosphere here, uh, if brothers go and bring in more wives, there will be fragmentation of land. When there are one female, let's say she can have 2 3 kids, possibly. Okay, but if all brothers, 3 brothers marry 3 wives, okay, in that same one two, in that same time, you could have possibly 9 kids. What would happen? There is fragmentation of land, so they will not be able to survive. So one of the ways in which they have actually found what suits their society, the kind of marriage that suits their society, is to take one wife. Okay, we will take one wife. Okay, Todas had a completely different reason. SK, what are your names? How come your names are not visible clearly? SK, so that is Khasa. Okay, that is Khasa. Tibetan, there are different Tibetans who also practice that. Now, Todas had a different reason. In fact, amongst the Toda community, they used to practice some form of female infanticide. And it is a very small group. The ratio became somewhere that, for every 10 males, there are only 7 females available. So if it is only monogamy, right, where 1 male and 1 female are going to get married, the problem happens to the other 3 males at the end. They will not have an opportunity to get married. Okay, so this particular society found this kind of a way to suit their needs the most. So the point being, all of these institutions that we talk about, right, they are different in different societies. Well, it is very difficult for us to say that there can be a proper universal definition of marriage. Imagine that, my in that particular course, my professor, she tried to get us to, come out with so many of these definitions, only to tell us at the end that there cannot be one sort of universal definition that will suit every single community across the earth. Right? There will always be exceptions. But however, the institution of marriage will always be there. Institution of marriage, in every society, we will find that there is some form of marriage. The type of marriage will be different, but marriage will be there. And the same thing goes for family and your political systems, your kinship patterns, your religions. Everybody has the need for religion in their society. There is it's very difficult to find societies that never had the history of religion at all, or any sort of beliefs. Okay, afterlife belief, those sort of thoughts. It is very difficult. Why so? Because there is a need for that sort of a belief to sort of be with you. We should look at these things in terms of the function they perform. In fact, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of marriage? What is the function of marriage? Why does every single society around the world have marriage? Anybody? Why does every single society have marriage? Anybody? We look at multiple functions here. To preserve their blood. What are you talking about? I didn't get that. To preserve their blood as in? To pass on their genes. Something like that? Companionship. Okay, okay. Good, good. Do we need to have marriage to have companion? Why can't we? See, I'm guessing that many of you are not married. But don't all of you have companions? You have a BFF, best friend forever. Don't you? Maybe it is your younger sister, elder brother, friend, classmate, right? There is always somebody. See, there are multiple. Of course, companionship is an important element, but companionship can be done through even without the institution of marriage, right? Without the institution of marriage. But listen to this. Marriage is required in every society for regulating sex. In every society, we seem to have the need to have a rule for who can have sex with whom. In every society, we have to find ways to have some rules regarding sex or sexual behavior. If, do you guys know gorilla? Right? Gorilla is an ape. Okay, it lives in Western Africa, right? You must know. Generally, what happens in many of these societies, like gorilla society or something, you will have the alpha male. He's the leader. Okay, he'll be like the strongest, biggest, not the oldest, but one in his prime. Okay, he is in his prime. He will generally be the alpha in that group. And around him, he'll have many beta males, even some omega males. Okay, meaning there is a hierarchy. The alpha has exclusive privileges, sexual privileges to all the females in that group. Does that make sense? So, and that allows him, because he's very strong and he can keep everybody under control, and he has these rules that only in that particular group. Humans are not like that, right? If this is the case, and go back in the past, if you're like hunting gathering sort of community, like thousand plus years back, it excuse me, we need each other's cooperation. We are not the fastest. We can't run and catch our prey. We are not the strongest. We can't beat our prey to death, right? We probably don't even have the best sight. In fact, we are the prey for many of these bigger animals. But if we work together, communication, coordination, and a bit of intelligence, we can be even the king of the jungle. Isn't that possible? But for that, we have to ensure that we can work together, coordinate with each other, be friends with each other. And this cannot be possible so long as we are having conflict and competition just for the sake of, sexual privileges. Okay, that tension will not allow us to sort of come together as a group, and that means we will not survive. So in order for that, every society has found some form of regulating sex or sexual behavior in every single society. Does that kind of make sense? Again, I've given you a very, very sort of brief sort of an overview of what is marriage. Of course, it will take some time for, for us to delve deeper. We can talk about other species as well. But this is your marriage, right? This is one major function, right? Similarly, you have many other things that we just talked about. Any questions about this so far? If I say religion as well, you can apply the same logic here. Religion also is an important socio-cultural institution in every society, meaning every society will have some form of religion present in their society. Will have religion present in their society. It need not be the same, right? It may not be the same God that you call, right? Some people may not link the eating of beef to their religion. Maybe dietary patterns have nothing to do with religion, but many religions do have that, right? Many religions tell you specifically that you've got to be a vegetarian, okay? Or you cannot eat pigs. Which religions tell you that? Jews, Islam, right? They cannot. Hindus, beef. And is it all Hindus? Is the rule that you cannot eat beef true for all Hindus? Okay, Maina, that is great. You seem to be knowing a lot of what is happening. Okay. Parikshit says Kerala. Okay, Kerala. Okay, good. So you understand, right? There are exceptions as well. Okay, in some places in Kerala, I've heard even RSS people, they consume beef, right? So it's not a taboo there. So religion can be of different ways. In some cultures, you will notice that the way they look at God, it might be just like an extra spirit. In some societies, it might be your ancestral spirit. Some form of ancestral worship is there in our society also, right? Do you guys have this practice that before lunch and before your lunch you actually place some food for the crows? No. Have you guys read Garuda Purana? In Garuda Purana, the point is I have to keep it to anthro. I don't want to delve into this. In Garuda Purana, basically they say that the departed souls, they revisit as in the form of a crow, right? So you have some practice, right? Now look, you can even look at that as nature worship. Kumbi Pakam. Okay, Kumbi Pakam, right? So things along those lines. I'm actually not quite aware of what that is. In case you want to say that, you just tell me what it is also, so that I also tend to learn, right? So that is that. But every society will have some form of religion. Now I'll give you an example. If let us say I live in the coast, and I have a small little draft, I have to go from here on the coast. Okay, I have to go into the sea. I have to weather the storm, and I have to bring fish. Okay, if we don't bring fish, my family, my community is going to go hungry. But when I go there, I have this fear that there will be this rain, there'll be storm, there'll be the tsunami or whatever it is, and my raft will probably get like inverted, and then I'm going to fall in, probably die. Okay, life or death. The possible chance is that my religion or my belief or my God possibly has something to do with ocean. I might have like ocean goddess or something like this, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Similarly, if you're in the forest, then you'll probably have like a forest god to help you keep safe. The idea here is even this is required in a society because there is a function it performs in a society. There it was regulation of sex. One of the major function was regulation. What about religion? Why do we have religion? What function does it perform in a society that every single society seems to have some form of religion? Anyone? Set of beliefs, okay. That is, what is religion? What is the function of religion that makes it sort of prevalent in every single society around the world? To have someone to blame, okay. Okay, interesting. Setting rules and regulation, okay. Rules and regulations can be set. For instance, let's say that, once you enter our classes, I will set the rules and regulation for how you have to perform in our class, right? What is okay and what is not okay is going to be well laid out. In fact, I don't even have to tell you, right? There is a certain sense of decorum, certain sense of regulation or rules that will be there when you enter every single class, whether it was a university, whether it was in your school. We have that. Pariksha says practice, comfort. Kanchana says comfort. Okay, okay. In fact, it's not very well placed here, comfort, but I will give you, I'll probably extend that a little bit. It gives you a sense of comfort, meaning it keeps your stress and anxiety levels low. Let us say that you have studied so well, you're 100% confident that you're going to write your prelims exam. All you have to do is like walk 50 meters and your what is that? Your exam center is there. But on the left hand side, you have a temple. Would you pray? Whenever there is a challenge in life, there is still some levels of uncertainty. In order to cope with that uncertainty, in order to cope with certain risks, in order to keep our stress and anxiety levels low, we try to, as somebody put it, blame others, blame God, I guess, but not exactly that. But we tend to use an extra sort of a person, okay, extra sort of a power, extra sort of a soul, a spirit, whatever it is, to sort of share a burden, to keep our stress and anxiety levels low. You have this feeling that somebody is there for you, somebody is watching out for you. You do good things, you feel like somebody will help you when the day comes. Does that kind of make sense? So everybody has these uncertainties in life that you have to cope with. So what do? Every single society will have some form of religion. So these are just the snippets of this module. There's a lot more in this module, obviously, to explore further. Do check out the playlist to know more about anthropology. If you found these modules to be interesting, then definitely do consider anthropology as an option for you as well. It might work out well for you for your UPSC mains. If there's any other aspect of anthropology that you'd like to know more about, do let us know in the comment section and we'll try to make videos on those. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next video.